Welcome to another episode of the Lyceum of History, the Native Americans of the Pacific Northwest. Our goals for this video are to look at the geography of the Pacific Northwest, the culture and history of the tribes, and the tribes today. The Pacific Northwest is a temperate rainforest with coniferous and broadleaf forest. It's a narrow strip of land in northwest North America. The borders are the southern coast of Alaska, in the south, northern California, to the east, the Cascade and Coastal Ranges, and the west, the Pacific Ocean. The area has a mild climate with cool summers and winters that usually stay above freezing. It receives over 55 inches per year of precipitation, and earthquakes and floods are the most common natural disasters. And you can see on the map the narrow strip of green along the coast of the Pacific Ocean and the mountains that are just east of it. It is those mountains that block the moisture from going over and giving the temperate rainforest its climate. One of the most famous tribes there are the Tlingit people. They traditionally lived in the area of southeastern Alaska and into parts of British Columbia. They're known for their totem poles, potlatch ceremonies, and historically they were fierce traders and defenders of their territories, maintaining extensive trade networks even with the arrival of European explorers. Another tribe, the Haida, lived just south of them. They were known for their woodwork, particularly the monumental totem poles and canoes they made. They were masters of maritime trade, and this allowed them to control vital trade routes along the northern Pacific coast. Further to the south were the Chinook, who inhabited the Columbia River Valley, primarily in present-day Washington and Oregon. They were key players in controlling trade networks along the Columbia River and were instrumental in early interactions with explorers like Lewis and Clark. They even developed the Chinook jargon, a trade language used by many groups. The governments of both the Tlingit and Haida people had maternal clan systems, meaning that inheritance was passed down through the mother. Their societies were divided into two groups called the Raven and the Eagle. Chiefs who inherited their positions held authority over their clan's resources, land, and decisions. Elders and chiefs made decisions through councils, reaching agreement by consensus. And you can see in the image Chief Kazanza in 2017. The Chinook had a society where wealth and social status determined who was in charge. They had chiefs who inherited their positions and controlled trade and resources. Wealthy families had a lot of power, and the chief was in charge of managing relationships with other tribes. Lumber is an abundant resource in the area, and the tribes that lived there lived in plank houses or longhouses. They were made from cedar, which has a natural oil that prevents rotting, and each house held several families. They had a central fire for both warmth and cooking, and the communal layout helped families share space and resources. They were also used to host social gatherings and ceremonies. You can see a replica in the image, as well as a totem pole in the front. Their diet included salmon, whales and seals, and other game such as deer, elk, and bear. But they also ate roots, berries, and nuts, and harvested seaweed. You can see the images of the salmon, the whale, and the bear to show how they became such important parts of their culture and their artwork. The tribes used cedar bark and woven fabrics for clothing. Men typically wore tunics and leggings, while women wore skirts and blouses. In colder weather, they layered their clothing with fur-lined robes or cloaks and added hats made from bark or fur. They also adorned their garments with artwork and beadwork. The Tlingit used wolf and bear skins for additional warmth, as they were further north, and you can see the examples in the pictures. Their technology included fishing gear that was designed to help them capture fish in the rivers. They also made nets from plant fibers and fish hooks crafted from bone or wood. They made seaworthy canoes from cedar logs, which were hollowed out and shaped using fire and tools. Of course, their plank houses, we mentioned, were made from cedar wood. And they made tools from stone, bone, and wood, included adzes, harpoons, and grinding stones. Their religion is centered on animism, a belief that all living and non-living things have a spirit. They also used their totem poles to honor their ancestors, and they had shamans who were in charge of healing. They held many ceremonies and rituals. In addition, their stories often involved trickster figures like the Raven, who played central roles in shaping the world and teaching lessons and morals. A tradition they had was called the potlatch ceremony. It was a complex ceremony involving the redistribution of wealth and resources. The system helped manage social relations as an important part of tribal governance. The wealthier somebody was, the more they were expected to give away to show their leadership and their morality. Today, many of these tribes still live in reservations in the Pacific Northwest and Alaska. To summarize, the Pacific Northwest is a temperate rainforest. They made their homes and canoes out of cedar, an abundant wood that does not rot easily. Salmon was a major part of their diet. They believed in animism. Totem poles were built to honor their ancestors, and their ancestors still live there today. Thank you so much for watching this video from the Lyceum of History. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing for more videos from the Lyceum of History.